go into it with you guys. First, we're gonna go physical pen, and I'm gonna explain everything as I go over it. So here we go. So let's talk about percent pen, right? Let's talk about flat pen. When is flat pen good? What is flat pen? Right, first, what is flat pen? Flat pen is, I don't know how, like, your damage is gonna be reduced, right, by prots. And if you have flat pen, if you have enough flat pen, right, you'll penetrate, you'll do true damage. It'll act like if it was reduced, like 0 was reduced, right? So let's say you're hitting a Chang'e, let's say you're hitting an Achilles, right? He's level 7, and he has how much physical prots? 46, right? And these are, let's say it's Achilles versus Achilles, right? And you have Jotun's Wrath, and Crusher, right? What's gonna hit harder? I'm gonna show you guys two builds. When it comes to abilities, right? The amount of prots you're ignoring. Yeah. So when it comes to abilities, right? Someone that's obviously at level 6, this is never gonna happen, right? Because you're not gonna have these items by level 6. But just for the example's sake, let's look at the prots, right? This Achilles has 43 prots. Which build hits harder? Which build is going to do more damage just based on the abilities and no passives, right? It's going to be this build. Why? Even this one has 10% pen, so you'd say why not? Why wouldn't that, right? Why would this one do more? Well, because this is what is this, 10, 15? What is Crusher nowadays? They keep nerfing this shit. It's still 15 flat pen. So it's 25 flat pen, which is he's going to have literally, what is this, 18 prots left. He's gonna have 18 physical prots left once you account for Jotun's and Crusher, and you do the math on Jotun's Wrath and Hydra's. So this is a thing where flat pen and percent pen kind of go against each other, right? Because now, let's say you have 10 flat pen on Jotun's Wrath, he's gonna have 33, and now it's gonna take into consideration the 10%. So 10% of 33 is 3 point something, right? So you're literally going through you're going through 3 prots with Hydra's Lament, right? While this one's 15 flat pen, so it's 3 to 15 on someone that has 43 physical prots, right? So Hydra's Lament, 10% pen is actually not efficient here. Obviously, as the game goes on, you know, at level 20 with no items, obviously we're talking about no items. Now Hydra's is I think still Hydra's might not be as good right now at this point, even at 88 prots. So we're gonna go over the math. 25, he'll be at what, 53, and then here he'll be at, you take out the 10, he'll be at 78, 10% of 78, 7.8. Yeah, so this one's still, even at 88 prots, obviously no items on Achilles, just base stats. This build is still, your abilities are still doing more to this Achilles with this build. Because I do get a lot of questions. I might have explained it a little bit weird in the beginning, but I hope I cleared things up. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. So, a lot of the time you want to build, like, you know, your flat pen items early in the game so you get a lot of value. But they are gonna, you know, if you do a build like this, so you're gonna ask yourself then, why don't you just build like this? Why don't you just build every, you know, like every flat pen item? Let me look for another flat pen item. Like, why wouldn't you just build like this? Wouldn't you just one shot? Well, for one, there's a flat pen cap, right? So you got to remember that. That is, what is the flat pen cap, guys? Is it 60? Well, 50, sorry. It's 50, right? So right here, you're overcapping, I'm pretty sure. You're at 25. This is what? 40. Yeah, you're at 55. So you're overcapping by 5, right? Because there's a cap for some reason in Smite. So with this build, you're gonna, anybody that you hit that is a backline with no physical prots, you will one shot. You're gonna be hitting for the amount of damage that it says, right? Because, well, not exactly, but let's say you're hitting for 150, right? You're gonna be hitting for like 142, 140, right? But why this build is better in the late game, right? Because this Achilles has no items. Let's give this guy some items. And say, alright, so let's do this. I'll change it to the row. I'm gonna miss the good Q. That's how you know I love you, YouTube and chat. Let's give this guy this, and then let's give him actually a normal build. Let's say he has this, this, and this, right? So now this Achilles, well, let me build it, builds. All right, so now this Achilles has 168 physical prots, right? So now we'll go back to the original question, right? Which one is better? And this is 25, so he'll have 100 and what, 143 left over. And with this one, he'll have 10. This is actually what, 16.8. So you get actually 16.8. They're actually still very similar, even with his first two items. They're still very similar. So you can see, but the only difference is this one's gonna scale, while this one doesn't. Right? That's the big difference, because as people continue to buy items, right? This is only 2 slots. As they continue to buy items, you know, this is going to be better. It's already even with Crusher at only 2 items, right? In how much damage is being reduced. So, you know, let's add one more item. Let's say he goes a Mantle, for example. Right? Now Hydra's is taking 22 prots, right? While Crusher's still at 15. So now this build at 3 items, obviously if he goes a third physical per item, this build is infinitely better. So let's compare it. Let's do like a Titans here, and then let's do Brawlers here. So now you're at 30% pen. We're not going to talk about Titan's Bane's passive. So now you're at 30% pen, and then the 10 flat pen from Jotun. So we're going to do 10. He's going to go down to about 213, and then 30% of 213, which I don't, what's the math on that? 30% of 213, let's say 60 something prots. So now these 2 items are not being now are penetrating past 60 prots, while these items right here are at what? Your cap is 50, right? So even if you wanted to, you could not get more. You couldn't do more with flat pen against these 3 items. So that is pretty much the explanation for penetration. I'm sure you guys have a ton of questions like in YouTube or whatnot. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So like, when should you build? So now the questions are when I'll go over it magical after, but I'm gonna go more situational stuff. So like, when would you build like like this, like Jotun's Crushers, right? Well, it's still a good build. It's just more situational, right? Because now you're gonna limit yourself, right? This build right here has a ton of opening, right? This build doesn't. This build, you can go hybrid next. You can build a Mantle, right? You can build Shield of Regrowth. You can build Berserkers. You know, you can literally build whatever you want. Why? Because you already have percent pen covered, right? This build has no percent pen covered. So now that you already have 3 maces locked in, now your next item has to be Serrated or Titans, right? Because you're going to do nothing to frontline. So that's something that's super important. So like more situational stuff to talk about. So let's say I am a Thor, right? These items are so good for Thor, all 3 of them. Obviously if they have healing or whatnot, but so you build these 3 items on Thor. It feels amazing. Why? Because when you're Thor, you can get to the backline almost guaranteed every time, right? Because you're Thor. But a Naja, for example, you could say she can consistently get to the backline with Blink, but if they beads her ult, his ult, Naja's ult, like you don't have any more value, right? Because let's say for example you have this build on Naja, right? You blink, you ult the backline, they beats. Now you have to run away, right? Because they're gonna turn on you. And when you re-engage and end up going on frontline again, you have these items. And these items are not gonna help, not gonna allow you to go through. Let's say that we add a 4th item, right? Let's say he has Berserkers for some reason. Let's say there's 4 physical or something. Now let's build it on him. So now he's at 263 prots. So you're literally your 25. What is this? 40 flat pen, right? Your 40 flat pen has to go through 263 prots. And you're already 3 slots in, right? You only have 3 more slots to build items. So that means you're forced to go Titans here, right? Or Serrated. Let's say you go Serrated. And then you're forced to go Heartseeker because there's literally no other item. or Hydras if you like. And now you only have one slot to really do anything else, to really change your build to like how your playstyle. So you see how this build is more locked in, like you're more forced to go a specific build while this build has so much opening. And that's why you see percent pen so often, even early in builds, even though the value is a little bit less. And that's why you see these percent pen items come out a little bit earlier. So let's talk about which items are, oh, I trolled. Which items are percent pen, and honestly, percent pen, there's three, there's serrated, Titans, right, for physical. Those are the two really big ones. Then we'll talk about, well, you can't build this on him. So, Silver Branch, sorry. Silver Branch is the one for, you know, whether it's set, Nemesis, or you're an ADC. And that's why you see, and Heartseeker is, I think, the last one, if I'm not mistaken. Heartseeker, serrated, Titans, Wind Demon passive, Silver Branch, and then Dom, Dom, and then plus the passive. So that's why you'll see those 5 or 6 items always built. You'll always see one, at least 2 or 3 of them throughout the the 10 characters that are playing versus each other, or 10 gods. So those are the percent pens. Let's talk about the flat pens. Flat pens. Oh, and Soul Eater, and Soul Eater, and Soul Eater. Has 10% pen. It's crazy, right? Because back in the day, it was only like 2 items. And Xe, but Xe doesn't have percent pen. It does something. Its passive is very different. The passive strips prots, right? It strips prots. So 28% from the enemy. So let's say, for example, I'll do another explanation, another tip for Xe, is that you don't want to go 40% pen and then Xe, or 30% pen then Xe. Why? So if you already have 30% pen, right, and someone has 300 physical prots, a frontline Emir, you already have 30%. That's gonna be 100 prots that you're stripping, right? Is that the right math? I might be trolling. I have so many numbers. I'm pretty sure it is though. 300. Oh wait, 330, 300, and then it's 30%. I might be trolling. It might be 90. Okay, 90. Yeah, 90. So the 28% that you're taking out, that you're taking off from this character with your left clicks, with your autos, is already being the 90 prots. It's already being stripped. So let's say for example someone has 300, I guess, and then you split the 90. So now you're taking 28% of 210 instead of 28% of 300. Which is still good, but the only reason it sounds pretty decent is because I'm talking about someone with 300 physical prots, which is a little bit over the top. I would say someone more with like 200 physical prots. If you have already 30% pen, then you're talking about 60 prots. So it's at 140. So 28% of 140 is much less than 28% of, 200. So you're kind of like taking a little bit of value away from your percent pen items, which means you're probably going to lack some power or attack speed throughout your build. So that's just a quick tip that I could give you guys. And then we can go over to the magical.
No, wait, you said percent pen. You're missing.
Oh yeah, and then flat pen. I didn't talk about flat pen. So flat pen is Jotuns, obviously all the maces other than Titans, these 3 maces, 15, 15, 10. Then there's Aussie, which is 15. Then there is Wind Demon is 10% pen. Then there's, I think that's it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it. Oh yeah, but no, Berserkers doesn't have it anymore. They switched the item. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So you could tell like Hi-Rez made it so that you build these items early, but it's always really important to understand why you're building these things, correct? Like, don't just build the 3 maces because they have no front line, right? Have a reasoning. Like, oh, I'm gonna dive them, right? I'm gonna get Jotuns for my early cycle of my kit because I can gank. I'm a Thor, I want to gank. They have healing, so I'm gonna go brawlers, and this goes perfect with my with the way I want to play, because I want to play fast and I want to dunk on these people and do literally true damage, because I already have 30 flat pen in my first 2 items. Okay, now you're talking. You know, now you're brewing up a game plan. You're brewing up your items according to your game plan. Now you have like, now you're gonna be already at a higher level than a lot of the players you're playing against.